Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime.
Welcome. Thank you guys for joining us on the Sweet 16 Elite 8 edition of Reckless Speculation, where we are going to talk about, we're going to give you some positive news, some bad news. We're going to talk about the recap of the first weekend, the Sweet 16 preview, talk a little bit about Roger Goodell, his new contract, Lamar Jackson situation, the great finish in the World Baseball Classic, and then they never let me get to it, but maybe NASCAR. But anyways, without further ado, I want to welcome our crew. We have Tom Sloan up in Michigan.
Good evening, Robbie. Getting ready for the big trip to New York City, are you?
Yes, I am. I'm excited. I was telling you in the pre-show, packing makes me the laziest person on earth. So I'm going to do that after the show. I'll probably forget a lot of stuff, but all I need is my orange hoodie and my gray pants, my lucky outfit. We have Brandon Chain. Brandon, welcome to the show.
What's going on? I know you're excited for that trip. I'm happy for you. First time in the Garden.
Yeah. And then we have Raj Mehta. Hey, actually on time. He thought he was late, but he is on time. Look at that.
Nah.
Hey! It only took 3 white guys 2.5 years to adjust to Indian time.
I did think I was late. That's why it says super late and super bummed, because I thought I was 15 late.
That's done intentional.
Yeah.
My bad.
So we're gonna talk about good news first. Tom, we have been on a 2+ week journey with you, Lilo, and the missing dog. So give us the update. How is she doing? How's the family doing? How's everyone doing?
Well, we'll start off by saying Lilo is home after
Lilo, sorry.
Yep, after a 16-day adventure throughout the outskirts of Lyon Township, Michigan. We got a call. It was a week ago Sunday. Some guy on a sod farm, which is about 2.5 miles away from where we live, said,
wait, hold on. Before you back up, for the people that haven't heard the story, tell them where you were whenever she went missing. Yeah.
So we were in the friendly confines of Chattanooga, Tennessee, having dinner with you, Robbie, and your lovely wife, when I got a phone call from our friends that were watching the dog, said that she got off her collar and took off running. And so the saga began. We immediately went back to Robbie's house and packed our stuff and got on the road. We were there a day and a half. So 9-hour drive back home. And we get home about 8:30 the next morning and start searching. And we get connected with this woman who's a dog recovery service, and all her time is donated, which is amazing. So we pretty much flooded the whole area with 500 plus flyers, and we got a lot of phone calls. And in 2 weeks, we had, a couple sightings, and we knew she was still alive, and which was the one thing that kept us motivated. But then when we got the call, like, oh, we see her, you want to come and get her? We're like, we're not, there's rules in recovery. You can't go and get her. You got to try and trap her. And so we didn't get really excited because we had all kinds of sightings prior. So we let the woman know. She goes over to the farm, and basically she sees her, and she runs into a barn where at this point she didn't know if it was her. She locked her in the barn, called us. We make our way over there. I do a visual. It's her. She sees me and she goes crazy. So 16 days she was gone. It didn't look like she ate at all in 16 days. She was very thin, very frail, which was pretty tough. I had to pick her up to get her out of the barn. It was so tight. And I was afraid I was going to break her rib cage.
Yeah. How's she doing now?
She's good. She's eating. Today's actually the first day that she's on a normal eating plan of two times a day, regular meals. She was on 6 small meals, which was really tough. So I know she wanted to eat more and more, and we wanted to give her more food, which was pretty tough, but it could have flipped her stomach if she would have ate too much. But nope, she's back and she's doing really well. Each day she gets a little bit stronger, and we'll be able to start taking her out on walks again. So good friend of ours bought us an air tag and a collar for it. So if this ever happens again,
hey, get that microchip switched to your proper address.
Yeah, the woman's actually coming tomorrow and going to get everything switched over. So yeah, it was a tough 2 weeks. It interrupted our vacation that we hadn't had in quite some time, and but that's okay. We'll get down there again real soon.
Yeah, it was one of those things where when y'all left, I was like, I mean, I don't know what they can do, and then I started losing hope for you guys, and it really is just amazing that she was able to come back, and I'm glad she is safe and back home, and then good for you guys. I know it meant a lot to you guys, as it would to any dog lover. So we're going to transition from the good news to the bad news of the week. Raj, so tell us about your trip to Columbus.
Yeah, dude, these were all first world problems, but it started Thursday. USC was tipping off Michigan State Friday at 12:15. Had tickets USC section about 10 rows up. Starts out with a paper cut Thursday. Rains the whole way. And then like 15 miles outside of Columbus, I get the wonderful low tire pressure indicator. Stop at a few hillbilly gas stations, and actually owned by Indians, one of them, of course. No matter where you go, doesn't matter how hillbilly, an Indian probably owns a gas station. Yay for us. Anyways, the compressor didn't work at one. The other didn't have Fix-A-Flat. Long story short.
Hey, y'all also sells liquor. So gas and liquor, you make the world go round.
Yeah, dude. And if you need to pass out, cheap motels as well. Generally choice hotels like a Quality Inn or something. But as we pigeonhole further, I got into the Graduate string of college hotels. Many of you guys may be familiar with this one. Decorated in scarlet and gray, which didn't help. And no, I mean, the game itself, it was freaking freezing and rained and blah, blah, blah. And it just wasn't the USC team I'd hoped to see. One thing USC has when facing a team like Michigan State and Marquette is just sheer athleticism. And arguably, one of the most athletic players in the tournament, 5-star 7-footer, Vince Iwuchukwu, did not play. Apparently the back issue, even though he's day-to-day for 2 weeks, he didn't play. And it was a shortened rotation, and you just had guys kind of covering and rotating that didn't practice, let alone play a team like the Tom Izzo team. And you just saw a lot of bad fouls and things of that nature. Really, what it came down to was Michigan State's defense. Go ahead, sorry.
So, Raj, so on TV, you couldn't really tell because the court, it's the March Madness court, just Columbus, Ohio. Were y'all at OSU or were y'all at the hockey arena?
So we were at the hockey arena, Nationwide Arena. It was remarkable. This is nothing new. In the past, there were a lot of reports of people slipping everywhere. And now, this is nothing new. Staples Center's got ice underneath the court. But I swear this, they don't play a lot of basketball here. And there was slipping all over. I think I asked you guys if it was apparent on TV. Obviously, that affects both teams. But there were just some critical plays where slips happened.
Well, it's funny. So The SEC tournament was played in Bridgestone where the Predators play, and everyone I was sitting with noticed it's freezing in here, and like because they have to keep the ice cold underneath, and so you can't help but think there's some moisture that slips up into those in that court. I don't like them playing in hockey or in hockey arenas.
Again, like Staples, the Kings play there, but that's professional, right? They do that every game, every week. I don't know if the technology is the same. I don't know if they have the same resources. Whatever it was, there were critical slips. A lot by USC, not because of misfortune, but because of the lockdown guard defense. We underestimate. And one thing about this tournament that you're going to speak towards, after letting them play for the most part, which is great. Like I said, we're going to get to UT bloodying up Duke, literally. But with Big Ten teams, big guards, Walker, Akins, and Hogard, Derek Walker, I think. Sorry, it's been a long time since I boozed 3 days in a row, the last two out of misery. But they just shut down USC's back.
Welcome to March.
Welcome to March, dude. And Boogie Ellis, especially a guy who can go for 30 any given night and unlimited range. He had 6 points and a lot of slips where people like Boogie trying to create and out of desperation. SC was down big in the first. They tied it at the half. We're a second half team. And, after that, it was just Michigan State left so many windows open, missing front ends of one-on-ones, and we just couldn't capitalize. Yeah. And all credit to Michigan State, for Tom Izzo. This is his 15th overall Sweet 16, which as a Tennessee fan, USC guy, we're just elated to be there, and this is their 15th. So big ups to them, man. Big ups to defense and Big Ten defense. I was really impressed.
All right. So, Brandon, I'm going to bring you on here because, Brandon, you admittedly, you have been a college basketball fan by watching or being a part of this show. Mm-hmm. And so this was a tournament that not a lot of buzzer beaters, but a lot of upsets. So as a fan or as a viewer, I guess, watching it, obviously Ohio State didn't make it, but as just watching it, what did you think about your overall feel of the first weekend?
Yeah, we kind of talked about this a little bit through text the other day, or actually on our meeting on Monday. And I've watched March Madness for several years. It's about the only time I tune into college basketball. As of late, I've started doing a little bit more because of this show. But dude, there was a lack of buzzer beaters, and that's typically what you see in March Madness are these overtime, buzzer beaters to get it to overtime or buzzer beaters to win. And you just didn't see a whole lot of that. You just saw, just big upsets and, like FDU over Purdue. Like I was not big on Purdue as some of you were. And I knew
guilty as charged.
I had them going out against Memphis in the second round in the round of 32, but obviously that didn't happen either, but did not foresee them going out in the first. And they just, showed how bad Big Ten has been consistently. Now you look at the opposite side of that, you've got Penn State and Michigan State who've done pretty well in the Big Ten. Maryland, they played well their first game too. But again, to Raj's point, Michigan State, Tom Izzo, when you get him in March, man, he's a tough one to beat no matter what the team looks like.
And I'm going to ask you a question, and this is just while you brought up a good point, and I'm just thinking about it right now. Is like the lack of buzzer beaters, because I remember us growing up, it seemed like there was a buzzer beater almost every. It was boom, boom, boom. Is this the metrics of sports taking over, where it's like, 2 minutes left, we'll foul X shooter because they shoot certain percentage, and then like
a little more of a chess match nowadays.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Has it taken away the fun of more? I mean, the tournament's always great. It will always be great, but it seems to have, to your point, it seems to have changed a little bit to where it's more tactical than randomness.
It has, but I also think it's, just a lack of opportunity per se. Certain situations, if it's a tight game, you're 2 points, 3 points, and you've got 10, 15 seconds left. There's not a whole lot of fouls that go on.
Yeah.
You're trying to run the clock out if you're the winning team, and you're definitely aiming for that 3-pointer on the opposite side. So
the one change I would love to see in college basketball is a timeout advancing it to half court to give teams a chance for late buckets. I'm going from one Big Ten fan to the other. Tom, going to you, the Big Ten. I don't know what to say. You got one team left in out of 8. Purdue lost as number 1 seed. What's your conference saying right now? We can't wait till UCLA joins.
Yeah, well, when it comes to basketball, there's no question.
Yeah,
they're definitely relying on UCLA coming in. You can't sugarcoat it. It's disappointing, and for me as a Michigan fan, for them to not make the tournament, look so bad this year, and then get bounced to Vanderbilt in the NIT, and then Ohio State not making the tournament. I just think right now that Big Ten's all bark, no bite, and it kind of proves it with only one team remaining. You got to like what Penn State and Northwestern did, kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, Penn State coach left to go to Notre Dame.
Okay, yep. So it's, wonder what'll happen next year, but they played really well. They had a good first round. I think as a whole the Big Ten did okay in the first round, but then just fell flat, especially Maryland. I think they were the big disappointment of them all. But yeah, they're supposed to be the SEC and of basketball. It proved it that they're not right now. Will next year be any different? I don't know, but it's just a poor showing when the only team left is Michigan State, who, Tom Izzo is built for March. He's built for this tournament, and he builds his teams as such. So it's, there's one team left, and they might be playing the best basketball, not named the Tennessee Volunteers. So, but overall, it's a disappointment in my estimation for the Big Ten to be such highly touted every year. And we're in the Sweet 16, and there's just one left. So it's a disappointment.
Yeah, Raj, and going to you, the other power basketball conference, the ACC, another shit, the bad whatever. What do you think about what the ACC did this tournament so far?
Duke looked like the best team in the country coming in to me. Like I said, they refs let them play, and I love that. You got, one common theme among the teams remaining is a lot of veteran, experienced players. And Tennessee, one of the oldest teams at almost 22 years of age. Of course, Plavsic is like 48. But, Duke, one of the youngest at 19. You just saw a lot of veteran leadership. And in the ACC, it doesn't scream that to me, except for one team who is still alive and who I'm a big fan of when they're healthy, and that's Miami. But overall, I don't think we expected a ton from the ACC. I think they're 6 and 7 overall. By the way, only one conference is undefeated in this year's tournament. The Ivy League, because Princeton's 2-0.
Okay.
Collectively.
That's a good trivia question.
It is a good trivia question. They are 2-0 thanks to Princeton. But no, I think, we are who they thought they were for most conferences, except maybe the Pac hasn't shown out too well.
Yeah, I agree. I think the ACC, and you have Syracuse down, North Carolina down. Pittsburgh an okay team, but it just seemed like a weak conference, and it's kind of showing if you don't challenge yourself in a conference, this is what's going to happen.
Full disclosure, I'm usually like you on every game, and when your team's in the game, you kind of a few brews are involved, so I didn't get as quite in depth as others. but I did watch a lot of the games Thursday from my car, including a game you're bringing up shortly, I'm sure.
Yep. All right. So we're going to do.
Speaking of ACC, Virginia. Right?
Well, so I'll just go. Tony Bennett has had a fantastic regular season career and somehow won a championship and has had a terrible postseason career. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's just like the 1 year wonder. And it's like, yeah, I'm good now. Like it's like it almost win the lottery. Maybe that is the best way to explain it. He won the lottery, that championship. He's had terrible, terrible, terrible tournament failures, and Matt Painter's on that same path too. It's gonna be interesting. And Cal's in the hot seat too. We'll talk about it later. I don't want to monopolize my college basketball time. We're talking about the Sweet 16 preview. We're gonna get with the East first because we have the Vols in there, and that's a lot of our listeners. Raj, you watch probably more Vols basketball than anyone I know besides me. The matchup. We have
should be on mute.
Florida Atlantic. And then on the bottom side, Kansas State and Michigan State. For me, I worry about this point guard from Kansas State, but I don't want to get ahead of myself thinking we're going to beat Florida Atlantic. But I wish Ziegler was here to kind of match that. Hopefully that's not an emergency. Raj, did you hear me? And what do you think about that?
I did. Unfortunately, it is going to come down to a lot of the refs. If they let them play, then I don't see any way that one of the shortest teams in basketball, FAU, can beat an experienced, bruising Tennessee team. You got one of the shortest teams in the country facing a team that has 4 guys that are 6'6" or taller. If Tennessee does go on to play Michigan State, and I do think Michigan State will beat Kansas State, I think it's a bad matchup for Kansas State. Again, those 3 guards, especially Tyson Walker, who is going to lock up with Marquise Noel, the diminutive point guard for Kansas State, but he makes the engine go. The horsepower maybe with Keontae Johnson. Oh, he's a great player. But you saw another great player in the Big East Player of the Year, the Marquette point guard, Tyler Kolek. And like I said, Boogie Ellis just shut down. They're taking them away. And you got 1 guard in this particular situation. Even if State – now, being said, I did see some ugliness come out of some of those shots, both Marquette and Michigan State, where I don't see that as much from Tennessee. But, again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I think Tennessee and Michigan State, if it happens, will be just old school, almost like, ironically, the Big East, Georgetown and Villanova just beating the crap out of each other. And would be a great matchup, both personnel-wise and coaching-wise. If you're a Tennessee fan, I know you're like me. When things are going too good, we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. You got to love how things have shaken out thus far. I think we were all surprised by what they did to Duke. And really, you said the S word before. They beat the shit out of them, literally. Filipowski was reminiscent. You weren't born yet of 1992 and Eric Montross from North Carolina bleeding from his face. It was beautiful basketball, especially from Kamwa representing that, with 27. How many did he have? Just
23 in the second half.
Yeah.
23 out of 27. Yeah.
And what does that tell you? So, if you're Tennessee, I know you're the host, but I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on their run this far, on the matchup with Florida Atlantic, contrasting styles, and who do you think, if they win, of course, they would face?
So, one, I think this is and anyone who ever knows me or has seen the show, I love Rick Barnes. I think this has been a great coaching job. Get them to the Sweet 16. Look, they went to Duke and they said, we are going to be men against your boys. And they did that, and that was a great game plan. It worked. And I don't want to hear about the refs nonsense. Look, no one ever cries about Duke not getting foul calls. That's nonsense. And then moving forward, I think we should win. Am I nervous? Of course. Because they're a team that shoots a lot of threes. We have the best 3-point defense in the country, so the matchup seems well. My fear is anything point guard play. I've said it all year long. All we need is one player to go with Santee. That's it. Just one player to play well with Santee. Our defense can hang and we can win. And then moving to the next field. It sounds crazy to ever ask for Michigan State in the tournament. But look, as many gray hairs as Izzo has, Rick Barnes has too. And that kid, that point guard from Kansas State, freaks me out. He's smooth, he's quick, and that's exactly what you don't want from a tough, tall, physical team. I'd rather man up with Michigan State and let men play men than not degrading the guy from Michigan State, obviously, but he's just he's the Kai Ziegler for them, and I don't want that because
without Ziegler, they present more matchup problems.
Yeah, I've
There's
seen
no
what
doubt
Kai
about
does to other teams like that. So I'm pretty confident to go to the Elite Eight, and then hey, if we go to the Final Four, it's our first one ever. I'm gonna need to borrow some money from all you guys to go to Houston, but yeah, I'll be there.
I hope it happens for your sake, but the irony of it all as well, like all these good teams that we all thought were going to go far, and then this one loses, probably the guy that spearhead, the guy that makes them charge, and then suddenly things are kind of unfolding pretty nicely so far. So
all right. We've been yapping. All right, Brandon, get on here. Brandon, sorry, get on here.
You're good. No, I just wanted to touch on UT a little bit too. I'm not a UT fan, obviously, but I do respect them and I respect Rick Barnes. And I think we need to respect the minor details in this game of the physicality against Duke. Like you said, it was men versus boys, but not only during play was it physical, it was physical when the whistle was blown, like in between every play. They were bumping elbows. I mean, these guys were leaning on them, letting them know they were there. Like it literally was physical through in and throughout. And that's what really surprised me. And I think that just took a toll. I mean, these guys just got kind of defeated and, they just couldn't hang. The defense was too strong. You guys were too physical. And like Raj said in the beginning, I thought Duke was one of the best teams coming out of this conference in the East. And man, Tennessee, if they play that way, and they had a couple guys get hot on some threes, and dude, you guys could go far for sure.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, we've had potential, and now it's
got to all click.
I like this. The thing that gives me hope is, look, these are kids playing in Madison Square Garden. This is their biggest moment. And defense wins over offense in these moments because it's easier to play defense. There's less pressure playing defense than offense.
Well, you look how many opportunities were given from the defensive side in transition and turnovers during that Duke game because of, Duke turned the ball over like 12 or 15 times the first half, which was not like them as of late anyway. So, if you guys stay physical like that, I mean, I think Rick Barnes knows his team well. And he knows his strengths and weaknesses. So,
all right, Brandon, you stay on. Tom, you get on. Hop off for a second, and then I'll come back on.
Yeah, I mean, I look at that. Oh, shoot! Sorry, wrong guy. Sorry, Brandon, I cut you off. I didn't mean that.
Good.
I look at the UT game, the last round there, like a team I kind of cherish. the old school Detroit Pistons bad boys era.
Mm-hmm.
Every point Duke had, they have to earn it. That was old school defense. That was, if you drive the lane, you're going to feel it. If you go up hard for a rebound, you're going to feel it. And Filipowski took that elbow. And within like 5 minutes, I remember us texting back and forth. I'm like, I don't know how this guy comes back in. He looked like he got hit with a right hook from Mike Tyson. His eyes started to swell up, and kudos for him for sticking it out and going out there and continuing to play. But they made it known that, hey, if you want to get that rebound, you're going to feel it. So it was really, really cool for me. I like good defense. This whole, up and down the court scoring left and right, that's not my thing. I can appreciate a team that will give it their all on the defensive end, which usually leads to some good offensive output. But I mean, it was a very low scoring game for the most part, but Tennessee took it off, towards the late in the second half. And I think it was a result of the physical play and knowing that nothing was going to come easy. And they took them off their game. And this is Schuyler's first year as the Duke coach.
Sure.
So you got to look at experience level. Would it have been different with Coach K? Who knows? But I think the inexperience shined in this round.
It did. And I don't think he knew how to react to that and try and, make in time, real time changes during that situation. And also kudos to the refs, for actually allowing them to play, allowing that physicality, because, I haven't watched as many games as these other guys and probably yourself during the year and the season, but they were not whistle happy for the most part. And
no,
I really like to see that. Like you said, it did remind me, the late 90s back in the day of that physicality. So it's fun to watch. And I think, if they could bring that back on a regular basis, I would definitely be more interested. I don't like squeak, 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 3-pointer score, squeak, 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 3-pointer score.
And unfortunately, that's what the games kind of come to. You get 4 guys sitting out on the perimeter, and you got your big, who's really not a big, who's camping out by the free throw line. So, where's the extra, offensive rebounds coming in? You just don't get it. But I agree. Like, if the refs stay out of this, I think it makes it more competitive play, and especially these later seed teams that are really relying on runs, and they're not used to being on the big circuit. So I think a lot of them get a little handsy, and when these refs are letting them play, they have a shot. So it's definitely been fun to watch. That Tennessee game was just, right up my alley. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Me too. Even though I had Duke, I was hats off to UT for that.
Absolutely.
What a dummy. Who picks Duke? Anyway,
who picks Purdue to win it all?
But no, and just to touch on the point y'all made, this is a tournament that's showing that essentially the one and done teams aren't winning. You look at Tennessee, FAU, Kansas State, Michigan State, UCLA, Gonzaga, UConn, Arkansas, Texas Xavier, Houston, Miami, Princeton, Creighton, San Diego State. They're not doing one and dones. And there's FU Alabama. But they're the majority, 15 of the 16 teams that are left are building programs. And that's what college sports should be about. So we ran a little long. So we're going to do a little bit rapid fire in the South, guys. Tom, I'll start with you. We got Alabama, San Diego State, Creighton, Princeton. What are you thinking about this region? Who do you think advances?
You got to like Alabama. They've been able to really kind of control their destiny. They've come into it pretty easily. I love Princeton. I look back probably 10, 12 years ago when Princeton went on a little bit of a run. I think they got to the Sweet 16.
The backdoor cut.
Yeah, and it's just like, these
Lefty
are the teams.
Grizzell, right? Lefty Grizzell, is that who it was?
I don't know, maybe. You're the college basketball aficionado, but you look a lot like a lot of these lower tier teams. Like they're not getting the pub. They're not getting, ESPN's not showing them. So they don't really know what to expect. And when these guys come out and they hit them in their mouth, and Princeton's playing with speed, they're running all over the court, and they can shoot the three, and they play solid defense. So you cannot count them out. Creighton's another team that has been known to make some noise in the tournament, but I think if you look at, the overall skill level, you got to like Alabama in there to come out. And I think there will be another upset, little foreshadowing, coming out of that region. But we'll see. But I think Alabama's probably the best.
Are you calling for Princeton in the Final Four?
Maybe not that far, but you'll see.
That's reckless speculation I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's recklessly speculating. You never know. We'll have to see.
Brandon, what do you think out of the South? We got Alabama, San Diego State, Creighton, and Princeton.
Man, I don't want to be cliche here, but I'm gonna have to go chalk. I really like what Creighton's been playing lately, and Alabama. Of course, I picked them to win it all, so I'm not going against them right now. As long as Brandon Miller is still playing, those guys are in good shape. Unfortunately,
yeah, I think Creighton's got a chance, but yeah, it's hard to go against Alabama right now. Raj, what do you think?
Creighton. There's a reason why that spread's 9.5, and it's because they're a much better, more natural matchup for Princeton than Mizzou and Arizona. They can play, at the same tempo. They can cover the back door, which, that constantly moving motion, positionless offense, a lot of picks on and off the ball. Creighton does a lot of the same stuff. So I think Princeton's run ends here. They'll no longer be underestimated, and they've got a week to be prepared for. The other game, you got a team that's I think 263rd in the country in San Diego State in possessions per game at, I believe, 66, and then Alabama, who's going to be at like top 5, 77 to 80 possessions per game, but just too much talent on that Alabama team. They're winning by an average of 21.5 points, I think. They are rolling right now. And contrasting styles again, but you got to go Bama right now, man. They look good.
So let me keep you on the screen here, Raj, because I want to take you to the West, where I think the champion comes out of this bracket. We got Gonzaga, UCLA, Arkansas, and UConn. What do you think? How do you think this shakes out?
People remember 2 years ago, Gonzaga won with Jalen Suggs over UCLA on a buzzer beater. Right now, UCLA is a 1.5 point favorite. And even though they're missing Jalen Clark, it's because of their defense. And this is a more defensive-oriented team. It is a more physical team, whereas Gonzaga is not nearly as physical as they were when they had Kispert and Timmy. I think UCLA is a little bit too athletic. I like the Tiger Campbell matchup, and Jaquez is just nobody on Gonzaga can really match up with him. So based on their defense, I'm going to go with UCLA.
Do you give Cronin a matchup over Few?
No, but Cronin's 3-6 against USC, but I think UCLA presents more matchup problems, and Cronin is obviously a massively defensive-oriented coach. So it's just one of those things where I see the stars aligning better for the Bruins. In the other game, you got to like UConn, another veteran team, while Arkansas's got Anthony Black and Nick Smith Jr., the freshman. Their older guys, Council and Devontae Davis, have led them through the first couple rounds. But UConn is just a beast right now. They're a 4-point favorite. Sanogo is 24 for 33 from the field in the first 2 games, with 52 points and 21 boards. There's nobody on Arkansas that can match up with him. He's going to be the problem.
I think UConn's better. I think Musselman may be the best modern or best current NCAA tournament coach out there.
Yeah, but keep your shirt on, bro. Like,
Brandon, we'll go to you.
They're
Brandon,
done there now.
This bracket.
Yeah, we'll stay up there. I like UConn right now, the way they're playing. Not much else to be said for me. Again, I haven't watched a whole lot of Arkansas play. I know they did well in the SEC tournament, but yeah, I like UConn there, and I'm struggling with UCLA because of their injury. But they've been showing out, like Raj said. I mean, they're a physical team, and that one's a toss-up for me. I mean, obviously Vegas has got them favored. I had picked Gonzaga originally, but I'm starting to doubt that a little bit.
Tom, what about you?
I like experience and seeing where UCLA's been. And like Raj said, Campbell's a hell of a point guard. And in this tournament, I think the key to success is having great guard play. As you see what's going on in Michigan State. But I like UCLA here. I like the fact that they're experienced. They went on a run, last year. And I think that they still have that taste in their mouth. But going up against Gonzaga and Timmy, who's experienced as well, that's going to be a battle. But like Raj said, the athleticism of UCLA, I think they get into a shooting match back and forth. I think UCLA comes out on top.
All right, Tom, quickly on the bracket no one cares about. We have Houston, Miami, Xavier, Texas. Who do you like?
Well, I mean, Houston not having their guard 100%. I'm not too sure if they'll be able to withstand. Miami's got kind of a running gun type of offense. And then Texas has just kind of, been skinning by, barely got by Penn State. What are they, after their coach debacle? They've been kind of up and down. So it'll be interesting. And Xavier barely gets by Pitt, first half struggles. Then they pull it out. So I guess looking at that one, I'll take Texas coming out of there. I mean, I think they're the more complete team. If what's his name from Houston, if Marcus Sasser was I'm trying to pull my inner Raj. I'm just not as good as he is. If Sasser was healthy,
that's enough from you, Brandon. 2 words. You want Houston, Miami, Xavier, Texas. You have 2 words. Which ones?
Texas, Miami.
All right, Raj, you have 2 words. This is going to be almost impossible for you. Only 2 words. Miami, Houston, Xavier, Texas.
Same, Brandon.
All right. Oh my God. Hey, that's whenever a lawyer says, "I got one more question," they never have one more question. That's the gold star of the show right now. All right.
I don't know.
Now we're going to move on to the preposterous salaries of the world. We have Roger Goodell has allegedly signed a new 5 to 6 year contract with the NFL owners. For those of you who don't know, Roger Goodell was, according to the New York Times, was making $63.6 million per year for overseeing this billion-dollar empire. 32 times over billion-dollar empire. So, Raj, you've done some contracts in your life. What do you think the over/under is on this salary that he's going to get?
Dude, I honestly have no idea. His track record, there's been some controversy, but I mean, like you said, billions and billions of dollars. Lately, it's turning over a lot of money as well. You had the Broncos sale, the Panthers sale, and soon the Commanders sale. Overall, look, you got a CBA done in 2020 between the NFLPA and the owners, which was not easy to do. Finally, he navigated them through COVID, and the NFL did not miss one single scheduled game. He's got everything in his favor. They're going to write a check for him, blank check. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I mean, you and I talk about money and valuation, and as of right now, he deserves it. I just can't believe I said that too. Like first the 2 words thing, and now that.
I didn't think you were going to say that. I did not expect that. No, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I just didn't think you were going to say that.
I feel nauseous inside. I don't know what to feel right now. It just doesn't.
To your point, though, you made some great points that they went through COVID and they said, we're going to play and we're going to fill these TV contracts. And look, Amazon paid them $1 billion for the shitty Thursday night game. They were all just like, of course we watch it, but why we don't want to watch it. We just do.
Can't even change it during commercials to like reruns of The Office. You know, we still watch it. Awful games.
So, and more to your point, you've taken the Broncos were maybe worth maybe $1 billion to now worth $4 billion, and I don't understand it. Hardly many people understand it. The difference between $1 billion to $1 million, and the difference between having a $5 billion toy to paying $2 million for a commissioner, like that's the equivalent of us dropping a penny. You know, it's hard to grasp. Brandon, what were your thoughts on these negotiations? He's coming back. We've had problems with Goodell many times. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's been the whipping boy for the NFL owners for, going on a decade or however many years he's been in office. But he just keeps getting the job done, and the NFL just keeps getting bigger profits. I mean, how can you fire a guy or not pay him what he's asking or what he wants when he's just hand over fist handing you money? Like Raj said, it pains me to say, but I agree. I mean, he deserves it, I guess. So it's a tough one for me to swallow because I'm not a Goodell fan.
So we talked about this on text. Over under $100 million a year. What do you think he's getting?
I'd say it's under. I'd say he's probably around 80 to 90 range.
Man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Tom, as you're a fan of a whipping boy of the NFL. I mean, that's a lot of money. And are you like, part of me gets it, but part of me is also like, man, I could do that job for like $2 million a year.
Well, I mean, from what I gather, it's going to be incentive laden as well. So I think that'll all have something to do with TV contracts. But really, he has pushed the brand beyond our borders here. He's really emphasized bringing football into Europe, which I still think that there will be an NFL team in London, perhaps within the next probably 5 to 10 years. So he's really pushed that effort. There's been a lot more games played there. And then you just go down to the TV contracts, the billions and billions that these networks spend for just the TV rights, like we just spoke about. Amazon paying $1 billion for a garbage product, and
YouTube's paying. I forgot what YouTube's paying, but something ridiculous.
DirecTV was paying. I think they paid $6 or $7 billion just to have the rights, and they had the right. They had the Sunday Ticket for 25 years, and unfortunately, I'm pretty disappointed because I was an avid member of the Sunday Ticket Club almost every year, so I'll have to switch over to YouTube. But I mean, he's really pushed that, and I agree with everyone. He's really focused on pushing the NFL. It's not just a seasonal sport. It's year round. You have the combine is a huge thing. Then you have the schedule release, and then the draft is massive. It's going to be here in Detroit next year. So it's just, and I think this is a product of his really marketing, the league.
So wait, hold on. So just so I understand, let's assume he's getting paid $80 million a year moving forward. Y'all are all in agreement that that's a justified salary?
Look at the money that the NFL brings in. It's insane.
I know.
80 million per, 100, 200 billion that they make worldwide between merchandise and look at, Tom Brady even said it when he played in Germany. He said, I've played in Super Bowls that weren't this crazy. And it just, there's a huge demand for football.
I get all that. I'm just saying, couldn't you get someone to do it for 10 million? I just don't know if it's that hard of a job, but nonetheless. All right. So speaking of NFL and owners and how they work, Lamar Jackson is on the market. I'll talk about his failures first. One, he has no agent. He has no PR firm. He has no lawyers, self-plug. He has no one working for him that should be working for him. On the flip side, he is a NFL MVP. He is getting 0 offers. What we're going to talk about here is the big C word, collusion, because what may be happening is the Browns, as we all know, the Haslam family owns the Browns. They gave Deshaun Watson $200 million, something and change, guaranteed, fully guaranteed. The NFL hates that. They hate guaranteed contracts. No one else has ever given a guaranteed contract. That's what Lamar Jackson wants. He's not getting phone calls back from the NFL teams. I don't know if it's by chance, collusion, or whatever, but it seems fishy. Raj, I'll go to you first. What do you think about this?
It certainly does provide a sort of justification by the NFL and the owners that he doesn't have, like, hey, this isn't collusion. The guy doesn't even have an agent. He's got his mom. He doesn't have a PR firm, like you said. He doesn't have an attorney.
Wait. Let me throw a caveat on. So, from the NFL and the PA's agreement, you cannot talk to a player direct. You can only talk to a player directly or an agent authorized by the PA association. So you can't talk to family members. You can't talk to indirect agents. So this is kind of where I think Lamar is kind of screwing himself. But go ahead. Sorry.
What do you believe?
There's rules out there.
Absolutely. And what is his strategy, in your opinion?
I mean, his strategy is thinking, I should get what Deshaun Watson got. And look, there's only one dumb owner that's going to do that. And
why no agent? Is it because he wants that extra percentage, or do he wants to be disarming to teams? Like, why?
Now, that's a good question. All I've ever heard is that he's just like, there's no need for an agent. And that's okay when you're talking about your rookie contract, because your rookie contract scaled. Like, there's no negotiation. I get that. But now you're talking about big boy money, and you need agents. You need lawyers. You need these people. Like, this industry doesn't exist for no reason.
No, absolutely. And, for those that are unaware, by collusion, you basically mean like amongst the owners and teams, there's an unwritten agreement or a deceitful agreement to kind of bring down Lamar Jackson's value and trade demands and sort of a knee-jerk reaction to, like you said, what the morons did with Deshaun Watson, which makes a lot of sense overall. And like I said, without an agent, without, they can kind of hide behind that. Like, look, hey, we're trying here. We're talking to him. He doesn't have official representation, etc. I mean, I don't know how this is going to play out, though. And now he's saying that he doesn't necessarily want guaranteed money, but, he's going to want up to $200 million. And, a guy with 5 big injuries in 5 years, you are the practicing attorney. Would you call this collusion? I know in effect, but do you think there's an intent there by the owners just based on recklessly speculating, or is it just kind of the byproduct of the market and what's going on?
Okay, so let's talk about it individually first. That's the important part. Individually, none of the 32 owners or 31 owners, the Haslams are thrown out there. None of the 31 owners want to guarantee contracts. They are solidified in that thought. Now, do they think that together? I don't know. And how do you prove that? But I can tell you the reason that Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson has not got this any kind of contract offer is because they are all thinking the Haslams did something really stupid because they're desperate, and we are not falling into that trap, and none of us are, because if the second person falls in, and so look, you have Herbert, Burrow, who are the other young kids? Herbert Burrow, Jalen Hurts. You have those guys. If they all see blood in the water, guaranteed contracts, they're all going to want that. And then no, the owners. That's the terrifying thing. So no, they will all let Lamar Jackson sink and swim before they all get caught up in. Oh yeah, no, yeah, we're going to start paying people 10 years for $300 million. No, that's not going to happen. Even though they're the richest owners in professional sports, they have the best collective bargaining agreement because NFL players can't play that long and they have no leverage and there's no other counterpart. They wear helmets. Like, for everyone that loves the NFL, and I love it as much as anyone else does, if you want to talk about, players' rights and players' freedoms, they don't play that game. Look, Magic Johnson is one of the richest black athletes that's ever lived. He is trying to buy the Commanders. He's having to partner with a multi-billionaire to just try to buy them. It's a uneven playing field. And so I just went off topic there, but yes.
No, and this is also a bit off topic, but rhetorically speaking, the NFL can kind of move on because it's Lamar Jackson. Could you see him not playing? But what if it was, a golden boy sense prototypical quarterback like Joe Burrow, who could you see the NFL? Like, I could see Lamar Jackson not getting any offers and the season moving forward. I could see him not playing next year because of this, if it came to that. Whereas I feel like the action would be forced more so with maybe more of a prototypical, this is reckless speculation, and I'm not playing any cards or insinuating anything else, but he is not the prototypical quarterback. He doesn't do anything the way that most people do things. And this may be with him not having an agent or whatnot, but if neither side budges, then what? He just sits. Well, I guess the Ravens did sign the non-exclusive.
They'll franchise tag him. Yeah,
they did. And my apologies there, but I just can't believe there hasn't been more action on this because, 2 years ago, people were dreaming of this day. They were going to throw anything at him. And like you said, with Watson, you got a guy who wasn't even playing at the time, suspended for a year, with obviously questionable moral character, getting the biggest contract in history. Then what are these guys going to get, when we put it back in context? And I don't know how this is going to play out. I really don't. If it gets franchise tagged, then the same shit happens next year, right?
Well, no, if he doesn't get a contract, no, it is collusion. I mean, it is. I mean, like the owners came together and said, no, we can't pay an NFL MVP guaranteed money. We just can't. I mean, because that's just going to happen. I mean, it's sad, but it is. Tom, Brandon, what are you guys' thoughts on him? We can go four screen. Tom, what do you think?
I think Baltimore offered him a massive contract last year that would have paid him more than, what Kyler Murray got, more guaranteed money than Kyler Murray got. And I think Baltimore's just looking at it as, has he completed a full season since he's been there? Yeah, he was MVP. Yeah, he's won them a lot of games, and they probably would have gone a little bit further this year, barring, that injury that he had. That how injured was he? I think he was trying to prove a point. But we won't speculate there.
Hold on though. He's never got to a physical for another team. Like, they're not concerned about his injury. It's just a contract. That's the kind of the sticking point.
I think other teams are probably a bit leery about his what his demands are and his availability, we'll say, for an entire season.
All right, Brandon, the Titans haven't had a quarterback in a long time. What do you think about them making an offer to Lamar Jackson?
It'd be the end of his career if that happens. Who's going to protect him? You think he's injury prone now? Wait till he's running around in circles and gets sacked 9 times a game. I mean, that's not going to happen, and I don't want that to happen for him. I want to see him do well. But again, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is a tipping point in the NFL where they are putting their foot down, the owners saying, we're not giving guaranteed money like the Haslams. Like, they lit a fire that needs to be put out. And unfortunately, it starts with Lamar. And I just think that's what's going on. And, he's a great player, and I think he'll do fine. He'll end up back with the Ravens, and I think they'll end up coming to a deal before it goes any further after this year's tag.
Well, I would say if I was the Players Association, I would say, look, we're going to front this agent's cost, and we're going to negotiate on his behalf because he's doing a terrible PR job. Because that's not his job, and it's no knock on Lamar. Lamar's job is not to be an attorney. It's not to be a contract person. He's not to be a PR person. But this looks bad on his behalf that no one wants him, and now he's like, I demand $200 million, and now no one's giving him anything.
Yeah, it's a lack of representation. I think he's trying to come into teams with open arms, saying, "Look, it's just me. I'm trying to be real. This is, I'm not giving an agent, or, trying to get money from my agent or do anything of that nature." And it's just going all wrong for him. I mean, you got to have representation. Go ahead.
Last thoughts.
Just quickly, any team that matches that, they have to give up 2 first-round picks, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that may be a reason why,
That's a big reason. But like Tom's point, I mean, he had a contract that was pretty daggone good on the table, but he wanted more. So now here's what more looks like.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone watch the World Baseball Classic?
No.
All right.
Highlights.
Tom, what'd you think about it?
I thought it was excellent. The world got to really see the best baseball players. And I think yesterday's game just kind of was the tournament in a nutshell. Japan, unbelievable pitching, great defense.
All right, that's enough. Now, okay, that's enough. Bet your nuts. Bet your nuts. All right,
that's all that mattered. Pitching and defense.
Yeah, I just want to know if you watched. I didn't care about your opinion, though.
It was great. As a baseball fan, I loved it.
Merrill Kelly started for Team USA in the championship game.
I saw the last pitch on PTI today. That was pretty good.
That matchup was unbelievable.
Yeah. All right.
That could have been the whole thing. We're good.
Enough baseball talk on reckless speculation. Let's bet your nuts. Get the pro.
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
All right, Bet Your Nuts section. This is where you guys benefit on our expertise to get rich. So we have 3 wise guys and then me, the expert. So everyone pop on screen, and what we got here is we got this weekend's update. Usually I'm on Nascar, but luckily Tennessee's in the Sweet 16, so I'll do a little bit of a diversion this week. Tom has also been kind of hot on NASCAR. We'll start with Brandon, though, down there. Brandon, what do you got?
I'm going to go to the Sweet 16 Midwest, Texas and Xavier. Texas is favored 4.5. Like I said, I've liked them this whole tournament. I think they're a better team than Xavier, especially after watching the tournament where Texas beat up on Kansas pretty good. So I like this matchup for Texas. I like minus 4.5.
Raj, what do you like?
I'm going to go with, even though they're very similar, the Marcus Sasser not being 100%, I'm going with senior guards and the Miami Hurricanes getting 7 points, which I think is too many. I may even look at money line on this game.
Love that.
All right, Tom, what do you have? Please tell me you have some god dang sense.
You looked a little mystified. I too was going to take Miami +7, but I'm going to go with the, I foreshadowed it earlier. Give me the Princeton Tigers, not only to cover. I'm going to take Princeton with the money line. I like them. This is reckless speculation. They're not going to make it to the Final Four, but let's get them to the Elite Eight anyhow. This 9.5, I like they're rolling good. Give me the Tigers +9.5 with the money line. Book it.
I've never been more embarrassed in a panel than I've seen tonight. Look, guys, the money is on the Vols. The Vols are going to win.
We saved that one for you.
And then take that money. Take that. If you've been 100, 1,000. If you have chain money, if you want to bet 100,000, I did have my background in the bottom of his basement, but I changed it to a default poor person's room here
Says
earlier.
the guy leaving for New York City tomorrow.
Right.
If you guys want to really bet money, so the Chevy cars are hot. I wouldn't mind Austin Dillon. Let's see what he's Austin Dillon. Oh, Austin Dillon's 80-1. So yeah, I like Austin Dillon. But anyways, bet the Vols. Vols gonna go to the Elite Eight, and then yeah, I'll be from Houston next week. Anyways, all right. So final thoughts. Raj, we'll start with you.
Dude, just crazy weekend. What was funny to me was Princeton being a 15, beating a 2 in Arizona, who back in the day in 93 was a 2 who lost to the 15 Santa Clara. This was an era when that stuff never happened. And up until UMBC beating Virginia that we talked about earlier, now, FDU is arguably the biggest upset of all time. This is a team that lost their championship game to Merrimack, who came up from D2, and there's some stupid rule where you have to wait 4 years. By point spread, they were 23.5-point underdogs, biggest spread of all time for somebody to come back and win. Purdue was a crappy number 1. We all know that except for you. Matt Painter and them, this is their 3rd straight year losing to a double-digit seed. But no, I mean, you got to say, in my opinion, this was the biggest upset in NCAA tournament history.
Tom?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. It was incredible to watch. But a little programming note, my final words. As many of you guys know, I used to do a podcast with our good buddy Rich Jasper, the Easy Speak at Easy 330. Well, starting this Sunday, it is back on with 2 new hosts. So we'll be broadcasting. I will broadcast it right on this page as well. So look for the shenanigans of Rich and myself and our good buddy JP and Drew. So we're going to talk local Detroit sports, Michigan sports, and we're going to hit on national stuff too. talk about beer. We're going to get Jonathan Danger on, talk about.
What about NASCAR?
NASCAR probably will be talked about as well. So, but we got some fun stuff in the works, so look for that. Sunday, it should be a weekly thing. But yeah, the Easy Speaks back, new look, 2 new hosts, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I fully expect you guys to be part of it as well. So look for invites down the line to make sure you guys come on and bring your expertise.
All right, Brandon.
Yeah, crazy weekend in March Madness. I mean, March does not disappoint. I'm definitely looking forward to these matchups with the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. This, again, I don't watch a lot of basketball, but, man, I'm glued to my seat during March. So looking forward to the fun.
Thank you guys all. Yeah, I'm heading to New York in the morning, and then we'll see how this goes. The Sweet 16, hopefully the Elite 8, and then spend the money to go to Houston the next weekend if I have to. But
if they lose to FAU, will this be the most painful loss in Tennessee history? I had to go.
No, we have many of those things.
It's always the next loss is the most painful.
Loyola, Chicago, whenever we lost that first round.
I don't know, dude. This sets up pretty nicely, bro.
I'm looking forward to it, and if y'all can just hope for the best. And then we'll be back here next Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what our week is.
Thursday.
We've got some new Reckless Speculation likes and subscriptions, so please look down and hit those buttons. And then, we got this. Then we got the Final Four. Then the Masters. Then we got baseball coming up. So a lot of good topics coming up here, and keep with us and keep you entertained.
Good night.
Have a good week, guys. We'll see you next week.
Gonzaga, UCLA too.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless